the shirt and the pants. Wow. Glow on the back of the fabric, we did it like magic, cause John in the bed. Yo, sat at the table and stuff.
Reach Over Culture podcast. It is I, this Rock, coming to you like I do every episode. Shout out to everybody that's listening for the first time. Shout out to all our YouTube subscribers that's tuning in. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment, rate, review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, whatever you get your podcasts from. I want to shout out a couple of town sponsors. Shout out to @Shop Lord Primo. Make sure you go shop Lord Primo. Shout out to @Charisma Clothing Co. Make sure you go get, P's line. Oh, wait, nah. It's no more. It's no more. It's no more. You gotta get the re-up, so, we'll get that. And then none other, last but not least, shout out to Town @townapparel.co. Speaking of Town, it's a very special episode. We're gonna title this Town Talk Part 2. I got the innovative, creative founder of Town Apparel, one of the leaders of the World 4-5, shifting the culture, none other, current cousin of the Reach Over Culture podcast.
Right.
My man's in them, none other than MC himself. How you doing?
Well, brother, you know how it goes.
All right. So, just kicking it off, where we at?
Lux Grooming Quarters.
Shout out to Lux
The
Grooming
premier
Quarters.
barber shop in the town.
Let's give it up for Lux Grooming Quarters.
Give it up for Lux Grooming Quarters one time.
So, Lux Grooming Quarters here, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Cincinnati. Shout out to our man, Ron, running the shop. Shout out to him. Is this black owned?
Black on.
Everything black owned?
Everything black on.
I feel like everything is black owned.
You know what I'm saying? Black owned town, you know what I'm saying? You see the Jordans black owned, you know what I'm saying?
Owned, yeah,
Sponsorships are black owned.
Black owned.
Everything black owned.
Everything black owned.
You know what I'm saying? Everything that's not black owned, as you can see,
Doesn't have a label on it.
does not have a label. Does not have a label.
Word. So, MC,
Yes, sir.
man, how you been doing, bro? Mentally, emotionally, we chopped it up on one of the lives. I appreciate you. Again, you a current cousin of the Reach Over Culture podcast. You've been on plenty of episodes. Mm-hmm. So, in and out this year, we now in November. How are you feeling in and out this year? What's your state right now?
My state, my state right now is pretty good. I think going into the year like everybody else, I had a lot of plans for things I was gonna do. And then the pandemic, I think as a whole, kind of slowed it down. But the pandemic didn't slow it down as much as the social issues kind of slowed it down.
Yeah.
So like we were planning on, and when I say we, I mean like 45, me and P, like all of us. Like we had a lot of plans, like projects we was trying to drop. I mean, tours we were trying to do. You heard the Animoji Jones, like we had plans. And I think that during the time where the pandemic came, it kind of slowed it down as far as like the touring and music and trying to see where the industry was going.
Right.
But once I'm trying to find a delicate way to put it just to be sensitive to the times, but like once the murders started happening, it was like,
call it what it is.
Yeah, it was like, okay, so now where is the responsibility as an artist to the people? Because for me, as you know, it's always about, for all of us, it's really always about speaking to the people.
Right.
So once it kind of shifted, it was like, how do we honor the work that God put in us to create, but at the same time being sensitive to everything that's going on.
Right.
So I think at the top of the year, it was kind of like shuffling, trying to figure it out. Once we kind of got adjusted to it, I feel like we got into the middle of the year when P dropped 2045, and then I dropped It Is What It Is. And going into the end of the year, I feel like we're really positioned to, really show people everything that like we've been trying to do or that we've been working on. And I feel like once we got our footing, it was like, all right, it's time to like really just go hard and just produce everything that we can, growing as a company, growing as individuals.
Before we get into 45, like how are you doing though? How is you as in Matt, as in, you just being who you are, again, founder of Town Clothing Co, townapparel.co, being one of the leaders in 45, like just you as a person, before the artist, before the business owner, like how are you like mentally wanting to end out this year?
I want to be sane. Like, I want to be like mentally stable enough to not be so overwhelmed by like everything that affects me, which is everything in the world. Like the things that I see on the internet, the things that I hear when I talk to people, like all that stuff kind of weighs on me. I feel like really heavy. So what I try to do going into 2021 ending this year is like, right now I feel really healthy. Like I feel like my relationships are in a good perspective. I feel like our company is in a good perspective. I feel like my family is in a good perspective. And like, to me, that brings me the most peace. So like right now, like I feel creative. Like I feel like this is as creative as I've felt since like high school.
Yeah.
So like it feels good. And it always feels good when like everybody around you is doing good. Like
I can echo those sentiments. I mean, me personally, like you said, just end insane, bro. I think that's what we all are trying to end. I mean, with all these insane times, no pun intended.
Right.
But it is what it is. As we speak on that, October 9th, you know, we finally got what a lot of us have honestly been waiting for, EP titled It Is What It Is. 18 months after this life, bro, before I get into the difference in between creating each project, why so long? Why so long in between one project and the other? Because within the town, that usually be the talk. Or within like our sphere of influence is Matt's dope. He just takes so long to put out music. Right. Now, they may not have these same conversations that I have with you, but for the people out there that might wonder, like, as much as you are up influenced within the World 45 and your imprint is all over the place, why does it take so long for you to put out music between one project and another?
Mostly, historically, it's been insecurity and like some doubt.
Right.
Like historically speaking, I feel like I get overwhelmed with the idea of this is all I wanted to do since I was a kid, right? So then you go from 8 to like 18, and it's like, this is what I'm gonna do. Then I get to 18, like we talked about in the last one for TLB, and it's like, I feel like God's calling me to not make music. Yeah. But the expectation never goes away. Yeah. Like your loved ones, the people that know you, your friends, your community is like, oh, Matt raps. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna be the GOAT, like this, that, and the third. And you kind of let that get into your head. So you come back after 5 years of not making music, and it's like, okay, every song has to be like a hit. Yeah. Every song has to be the greatest thing that somebody's ever heard. Yeah. And there was a moment where like it transitioned from like me caring about what people thought and then the expectations of what people thought, I started to just put on myself. And it got to a place to where like, P used to be with me all the time about make music, make music, make music, make music. And there was a time where like, he kind of let go, but I still felt the pressure of like, make music, make music, make music. So like with this last one, it was more so like working through the insecurity of, is this good enough? Or what if this don't work? And feeling like every opportunity was like my last opportunity. And if every song wasn't fire, then it just meant that I wasn't gonna be able to make it, especially because I'm older now. Like I didn't have the luxury of being 18, 19, 20, 21, figuring it out.
The kid trying to figure it out. It's
you know
like,
what I'm saying?
He's a kid, he'll figure it out. Now it's like, nah, I'm grown.
I'm grown now.
I kind of have to have this like figured out like right now.
Right.
You know, if it don't at least get figured out right now, it may never. I might be one of those 35, year old guys. You
don't want to be one of them.
I mean, we don't have to throw out names. It's a few guys you can never go. Like we say, we never go Scottie Pimpin', like signing a bad deal, never go Scottie Pimpin'. It's a couple of those in the town that, you just never go them.
I mean, I know some guys personally that's like that too. Like, I know some guys that like men that are like friends of mine who, and that's another thing too that's always been on me, like, don't do what I did. Like, don't wait until you in your early to mid 30s to really give it everything you got, right? Do it now. Yeah. So like I always hear that in the back of my mind. And it's a balance. Like sometimes it freaks me out and it's like, yo, this is my last chance. But sometimes it's opportunity. It's like, man, coming from the wisdom of people watching how they went and how it didn't work for them and being able to take from those people and be like, all right, I see where I can learn from your experiences. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. So with that, talking about the wisdom that you're receiving from people, even people here, probably artists or whatever. In the first time talk, we talked about just your status in the town, how you've been putting on, how since you've really come out with music, you know, back with Amen, you've constantly preached town.
Right.
To where it became a staple here in the 918 for a lot of people that may or may not try to give you that credit. Like, you were part of the reason why it's cool to be from the town, you know, per se. Not a lot of it. Like, you don't have to say that. I'll say that. Like, especially for people within our sphere, a peer group. Because I'm from New Orleans, you from Houston, but we can both, you know, say that the time that we spent here, you know, this is part of our upbringing. This is one of our hometowns as well.
Yeah.
Most of the people that I've met that's originally from here don't like that they from here.
Right.
Right? They hate that they from Tulsa. I hate Tulsa. I don't want to be from Tulsa. They lie and say they from, I don't know, Sacramento. When they moved from Sacramento to here, like at 1 year old, it's like, bro, you're not from Sacramento. You from here. Like, you went to McCullough High School to the 8th grade, the whole 9. Shout out to you.
Right.
But now I'm starting to see people our age that's originally from here be proud to be from here. It's like, nah, I'm from Tulsa. Like wearing town across the chest.
Yeah.
You know, listening to different local artists. Like, now they bigging up June.
Yeah, Game Time June.
So, you know, but you can't tell me within our like peer group that a lot of us weren't influenced, or a lot of people weren't proud to be from the town until you, World 45, whoever, made it cool to be from here. So with that, right, have you experienced more praise, more love, or have you experienced more jealousy? Like, is your status in the town, or your relationships, or your equity in the town better or worse since you've begun to really put yourself as a staple here in the city, being involved with the FELA movement to a certain degree,
right?
World 45, this, and the third. How are people embracing you in the town, especially from those that's just regular fans to those that's like in the scene, a part of the underground, a subculture, like what's going on? How have you been embraced?
So going back to what you said about people not wanting to claim the town,
yeah,
I think when you're younger, growing up in a small city, it don't feel cool. Mm-hmm. So like, I think that people don't embrace the town more now in our age group because we branded it. I think it's because we got older, and it's like, who am I trying to impress? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're in high school, it's always like, you want people to think that you're cool. You want people to, everybody want to be popular. You want to be recognized and all of that. It sounds much more cool to say, I'm from Houston, than to be like, oh yeah, I was born in Tulsa. So like, even me, like I moved here 8th grade, and people liked me because I was from Houston. And Texas is a big thing in Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying? Like people, you know it, like, people move to Dallas to start their new life. People move to Houston and Tulsa, you know what I'm saying? Like,
word.
So like, I think that's the thing more so than even the branding. Like, not that the branding didn't have nothing to do with it, but I feel like it was more so people growing up. I'm curious as to see how the younger people talk about Tulsa, because I don't really hear too much from like the 15-year-olds, the 14-year-olds, the 16-year-olds that's in the town, like how they feel about Tulsa or what they're talking about it. But as far as the respect aspect for me, is like, I don't get a lot of hate, honestly. Like, I feel like it's real minimal. So I feel like I get way more praise or love than I get, like, I don't know, talking down. Like, and I think that's for the whole squad as a whole. Like, but I think it's because you show the love. Like, if you show love to people, they'll show the love back. Right. And even for me, like, I feel like if there is a level of hate that's exceeding what I see, I think it's just because I don't see it. Because my faith is not to be like, my faith is for people that have like a change of heart when they see the truth. Yeah. So like, I don't focus on all of the negativity. Like, the negativity that I focus on is the ones that comes from people that I know, like people that I really know. But like, outside of that, like, because those are people you can have a conversation with. But outside of that, it's like, I think that people see the fruit, and when the fruit shows itself, then people want to be a part of it, or people want to know how you grew it. You know what I'm saying? And us, me personally, and 45 as a whole, like, we're about giving people the fruit so that they can taste it and be like, yo, that's fire. And then we can be like, yeah, this is how we grew it. You know what I'm saying? So like.
But like nothing like, I mean, so you haven't had to like pull up on anybody.
I'm not that type of person.
Anybody playing on your name?
I'm not that type of person.
All right, good.
I'm not the pull up person. I'm not.
Or even like stepping aside, having like any type of conversations, none of that.
I mean, once or twice, but it's always respect though. Like Tulsa, I feel like Tulsa has a certain level of respect to it, to where, like when you have a problem with somebody, I think the biggest issue even in our generation is that like we just don't talk to each other.
Right.
So like I feel like in Tulsa, I found that if I communicate with somebody on an issue that I may have or an area where I feel like we can improve, people are more susceptible to hearing it, especially once they see the fruit. Like they see the clothes, they see how we move at the shows. They hear about the things that we do with the other artists and how we work and all that other type of stuff. And there's not an artist that's like, I feel like come around us that like have seen the way that we move and the way that we communicate that's been like, oh, nah, man, I don't rock with them. It's always like, I never knew you was like that, or I never knew y'all was like that. And I get why people kind of feel like, you know what I'm saying, we kind of standoffish because and also the company was birthed in anxiety and depression. Like, I think that's the thing that I think doesn't get talked about enough. Like, me and P came together in a state where we didn't know what was going on in our personal lives, you know what I'm saying? So, like, the company was birthed in trying to get past those things. So, like, we still have moments where it's like, we don't like being in crowded rooms full of people we don't know sometimes. So that means that maybe certain shows you just don't pull up to all the time. Or my social media gets drained because I'm not really like an extroverted type of person. But none of those things have anything to do with how I feel about the town or the people. It's just about what keeps me healthy up here the most, to be able to produce the things that I feel like benefit the town.
And that's important. I like that you said that. I think that's important for anybody that may have a misconception about you or P or whoever, if they don't see y'all at an event, if they don't, see y'all posting their music on the Instagram or whatever. It's like, bruh, it's not that it's not love. Everybody busy. Everybody busy, like doing their own thing. That was gonna be my last point until we, then we'll transition into the music. Are you starting to see, not starting to see, but are you satisfied with the amount of unity that is here within different music groups, media groups, whatever within the town, like as a collective? Because again, you got the Fires and Little African movement, shout out to them. Yeah. You still got the world culture music movement, shout out to them. I think that's still a movement. Black crazy. Wall Street is, become more and more of a, centerpiece in media, especially with everything that's going on this year. You got people like Brian and Russ wanting to shoot documentaries and different things like that. So with all of this going on, and Tulsa being, even the Trump rally, Tulsa being a focal point within CNN, MSNBC, BET, like, I don't think I've ever seen a year where Tulsa's been more talked about than 2020. So with all that going on, are you seeing more unity within the town, or are people still grasping for straws and trying to control they block?
I think for the most part, there's way more unity than it was when I was introduced to the town as an artist, you know what I'm saying, like 4 or 5 years ago. Right. But like, on top of that, it's a bunch of artists that are continually, this is what Fila did. And shout out to Fila for real. Because what Fila did was, it brought people together and put them all in one space where they hadn't had the opportunity to. Like, prior to Fila, I felt like we were exhausting everything that we could do to unite us quickly. Like, everything else, I felt like it was gonna be a longer process. Like, people were gonna have to naturally link up, do more shows, make bigger projects, all types of stuff. What Fila did is that it cut through all of the natural barriers, and it just dumped Oklahoma all in one room. And people were able to see like the value in each other. People were able to see like, oh, your music is dope, and this is how you work, and I never thought you worked like that, but you kind of work like me, like, or I want to, learn how to do what you do. Like, there was mad people that I met that like, I never would have had the opportunity to meet that easily. Like a Grand National. Like Grand lives in the city. I don't go to the city.
Right.
So like the chances of me having an opportunity to sit in a studio with Grand wouldn't have come as easy as it did at Afila. And I think when you hear the project, a lot of the songs, you can kind of feel the energy. Like, so I feel like there's way more unity. I won't say I'm satisfied because I feel like I won't be satisfied until our unity produces an economy for the artist and a fan base that's beyond the creatives. Like right now, the fan base in the town is creatives that are supporting each other.
Right.
I want to see fans. Like I want to see people that don't rap, that don't sing, that don't make music coming to shows.
Right.
And it not be like 90-10 creatives and fans. I would like to see that flip. And I feel like that's where I'll be satisfied. I'm encouraged, hella encouraged though.
Yeah.
Like super encouraged.
That's good, that's good.
Go ahead. Be safe. So it'll be smooth. Thanks for coming.
So, what was the difference in between recording It Is What It Is and This Life Broke? Give me a couple of differences in these two projects, because they sound, at least to me, they sound completely different. You know what I mean? It's some nuances there that's the same, but for an 18-month layoff, they sound completely different. So give me some of the differences in between recording the two.
One of them was the surgery
Okay.
that I had right before TLB. Most of TLB was recorded before the surgery, so there were certain accesses.
And what surgery?
The surgery I had on my face where I had a deviated septum, my nose was kind of broken,
Right.
I had sinus allergies, all types of just nastiness that created the congestion to where I could barely really breathe, right?
Right.
So
On
after
your
I had
Kanye
the
West stuff,
oh my
I see.
God. So after I had the surgery, I had access to more just registers, things I could do with my voice.
Right.
That was one thing. But the biggest thing was medicine. Being able, because with TLB, I didn't record TLB with Davey.
And who's Medicine?
Medicine is the key, one of the keys to 45. He may be the
Shout out to
biggest
Medicine.
pillar. He's the cornerstone of 45.
Right,
He
right.
mixes, he masters, he makes, in my opinion, the best music. He plays every instrument. He's everything, bro. He's the angel of 45, you know what I'm saying?
The angel of the house.
The angel of the house. And I wasn't with him when I made TLB. I think that was the biggest difference. We recorded, what do we know? It already came out, so I did that with him. A part I had recorded with him before he left, but a lot of those songs I made after he was gone. And the most important part is the mixing, the mastering, all of that stuff. We were in two completely different, time zones when we did that. With this one, I was able to sit with him for a week, 2 weeks, and really craft a sound. So I think that between that and just growing as a person and being more comfortable stepping into, I don't want to say leadership. I just want to say being comfortable with my voice and who I am as an artist and the things that I want to say or who I want to speak to. I felt with TLB, and at the same time too, TLB was more romantic, and not even on a boyfriend girlfriend type situation, but it was more romantic from my career. It was my first body of work. You know what I'm saying? To me, it was so special that I wanted it. I worked so hard to make it sound like something. You know what I'm saying? I wanted it to have these feels come across this way, and I wanted it to live up to this dream that I had in my mind since I was 8. You know what I'm saying? With this project, there was no expectation. There was no I felt so free to be able to do whatever I wanted to do and say whatever I wanted to say. And I think that's why with a lot of these songs, I didn't have to write a lot of it down. It was a lot of just on the fly, I'm just recording, freestyling, punching in, because I wanted to get something more authentic out. And I feel this one, all of my projects, well, I only have 2, so both of my projects are for the people. But this one was really for the people. Yeah. It wasn't for myself. I feel TLB was a lot for me, and TLB was a lot to prove something. this one, it was more so to like make people feel something.
Do you take your music as like a concept of art almost? Like, because the interesting thing with you taking 18 months to release one project to the next and then them sounding completely different, it's one of those, I can't think of the term, but it's one of those concepts that a lot of great artists use, is they don't just do just to do. Mm-hmm. They make their best art based on how they feel, like, and what's real to them in the moment. When you're looking at guys like Cole, Kendrick, whoever, they don't just make music just to make music. They make music based off of how they feel, which to us as fans, it hurts because it's like, might not put out an album until 2025, right?
Right.
But you know it's gonna be fire, and you know it's gonna be relevant to whatever's going on in that time. So when I'm thinking 18 months, I'm thinking, no, this is like, if Basquiat got paint, he got 808s, right? Like,
right.
if Da Vinci, you know what I mean, got a blank canvas to work with, he's just tuning in the beats. But the thing I give you and I admire about you is that you don't just make music just to make music. You make music, like you said, whether it be for the people or whatever, but it's like a real artistry type of thing. Do you ever approach your music like that? Like, yo, this is my art, this is my canvas, and this is what I'm trying to paint, and nobody's gonna rush me.
Yeah.
Because you talked about pressure earlier.
Right.
You talked about pressure within, you know, just feeling like, you know, I gotta put out music, and you've had a couple lines like that, in Ride 2.0. Mm-hmm. But even with that, even with somebody like a Paris who's just working at this immense rate, crazy rate, work ethic is out the world.
I don't know how he does it.
Bro,
I know he's right there, but I don't know how he does it.
I don't think a lot of us do. You know what I mean? Like, but with you, it's like the work ethic is crazy. It just, unless it suits right with the soul, I can't just put that out there. Do you ever approach your music like that? Just rounding about the question, you ever approach your music like art? Like, I'm not putting out art until I'm proud of the art that I'm putting out.
Yeah. But I think when you phrase it like that, it sounds too pure.
Okay.
Like, it sounds too pretentious.
Okay.
Because, like, that's true. And as cool as that sounds on, like, a Frank Ocean level, everybody don't have the grace from above to put out 15 songs in 2 years and, like, have a career that is profitable. That's sustainable for just, like, I have a phone bill. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, that's true. That's how I approach my art. But at the same time, there's a level of, like, lethargy to it, which is just, like, I found myself in seasons where it's like, oh, I'm just waiting for the inspiration. Because I can't make music if it's not touching, like, like that type of stuff. But what I realized, and I think this is the biggest difference between T.O.B. and It Is What It Is I learned the creative power of God and what that means, and like that the source of inspiration is there for you to be tapped into at all times. So like those feelings of everything has to mean something, I can make music at a Paris rate and it still be, because for the record, I think that's what he does personally. But like, I can make music at that rate and still keep the feel of, oh, he just cares about the art and this, that, and the third, if I'm tapped in enough. And I think the issue prior to this project is that I wasn't tapped in enough. Like, there was always stuff that could like knock me off my square because I wasn't anchored in God enough. Like, I wasn't anchored in the spirit enough. Yeah. So like, when I made TLB, I was ready to like go. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the songs that came with the Animoji IG EP were all songs I made right after TLB. That's why the TLB freestyle is called TLB freestyle. I made that like the week after. But like, when Nipsey died, I got mad depressed, and it knocked me off of my path. Like, because I wasn't anchored in nothing. So every time something happened that had like reason to affect me, it would affect me too much because I wasn't anchored in nothing. I feel like now understanding like not just my responsibility to myself, but my responsibility to like God and how He is wanting to always like give that creative vision to me is what makes it easier now to feel like, okay, I could create in this same spirit, but produce it at a more rapid rate. And I may never be the one that puts out 2 albums a year,
right.
but like 18, I don't anticipate it being another 18 months.
Yeah, I mean, and that's good what you said. When you're operating in the spirit, everything you do is tailor-made into, especially when you talk about your gift.
Yeah.
Your gift is, when you give it to God, God's the only thing that could really quench that and push it to where you're actually trying to take it.
Yeah.
And so when you say your creativity is really, I mean, you're just creative off top, but you can become immensely creative and still make meaningful things that you're proud of when you're tapped into the spirit. I think that's a holy key that, you know, Christians, believers, non-believers, or whatever, when you're tapped into a higher power, you get some of your best work at an immense rate,
right,
at something that you, and it's good what you said about P, because, you know, I mean, P lives in his truth.
Right.
So he's always tapped in some form of fashion. So he's always producing work that are touching the people, because he's always allowing that lane for God to touch him in the same way. So I think that's dope, and I think that's a key that a lot of people don't know, and so for you to share that is amazing. So getting into the project, it is what it is.
Right.
15 minutes, flames, by the way.
Thank you.
First song, 2 shots. I got a couple of notes. We'll get into the notes. You talk about a cousin named Dame.
Yeah.
Off top, you're mentioning in the song that, you know, Dame, one, he gonna come see about you. He's had a situation where he's been hit a couple times. Mm-hmm. And he's found himself in a cycle that a lot of young African Americans in his situation find themselves in. So with creating this song, I'm just break down the full revelation that I kind of got. Okay. You know, when you cut down the bars and you make the song, and that's what I love about you. You make the songs plain as day.
Yeah, I try to.
It's plain as day, right? So, couple of lines, you said, Dame living like Dame living, I gotta shift the vision. Mm-hmm. Cause Dame ain't gonna stop till his cousin on top. Dame gonna do Dame until he see his cousin reach his purpose. So pretty much you breaking down a story, and you've told me about this conversation that you've had with Dame off camera. You breaking down his story, and you pretty much giving a layer to where people are at and how we can possibly see people move forward even in that type of community, right? You're saying Dame ain't gonna stop till his cousin on top. So he ain't gonna stop doing what he's doing until his cousin, which you look at a lot of rappers, you look at anybody that's prone to make it out of the hood, they always got that one cousin or brother that's gonna be like, I got your back, but this is the only way I know how to help you.
Right.
In this setting, right? Dame gonna do Dame until he see his cousin reach purpose. Oh no, Dame living like Dame living, I gotta shift the vision. That shows me that you feel like you have a responsibility almost to give him a different concept of what life could be like outside of what he doing. And then you said Dame gonna be Dame until you see his cousin reach his purpose. Now I'm actually explain that last line, but am I on track with the message you're trying to convey, which is like, this is where our people are at, and this is how we can possibly get them out of this cycle that we've seen in our community. Yeah. Am I kind of on point, or like?
Yeah, I think you got it for the most part, because it's a parable, and we've had this conversation also like off camera. Right. Like the whole project is a parable for several different things, like our community as Black men and women in this country, believers in this country. You know what I'm saying? And then just human beings, like, as a whole.
Right.
Like, there's always people that you're trying to get through to for whatever reason. And 2 Shots was written more in the mindset of, like, survivor's guilt, like survivor's remorse. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like,
I like that.
and that's why I talked about it even in Ride, where it's like, I talk about coming up with a mom who understood things in a way that Dame's mom maybe didn't. And a mom that put me in a position to be educated, to understand what was the right thing to do and the wrong thing to do. And being able to have the perspective of both sides, from sometimes choosing the wrong thing and having access to that wrong thing, and sometimes choosing the right thing and hopefully choosing the right thing more times than the wrong thing. It's like, I feel more so a responsibility to speak to the people who didn't have that same understanding, that didn't, or that don't have the same luxuries to even think like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was luxuries that I had that afforded me the opportunity to talk to my cousin like that. So for me, it's like, we all got people in our lives, and they don't have to be somebody in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It don't have to always be somebody on drugs. Like, but we all got people that we're trying to reach, that we're trying to talk to, that won't understand it until they see it work for you. You know what I'm saying? So like, for me, it's like, my driving passion is for my cousins. Like, I want them to understand that, like, yo, God is dope, bro. Like, and bro, they have a frame of reference for it. Like, when I call my cousin and I'm like, yo, how's it going? His response is always trying to live righteous. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that he's so, like, he has no understanding of it. It's that, like, he's never seen it work for nobody that's actually going to take the time to be like, hey, look, man, like, I understand what's going on. I understand what's going on in the streets. I understand what's going on in the country. I understand what's going on with you. But, like, there's more out there than just living day to day, just trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for him, it's like, I know, because he told me, like, I'm going to be doing this until forever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, you just trying to get a check. You just trying to get some money. You trying to get a car. You trying to get a crib. You trying to live what in your mind is going to make you comfortable. And for me, what makes me comfortable is having a peace that comes from God, right? But everybody don't understand that, because everybody don't believe in God the way I do. So for some people to understand and even get to the opportunity to get that peace, they got to see somebody that has it, like, that has that peace, but that also has the other things that they value. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important to, like, for me to get the most out of life. Like, it's not to have nice things just to have them. Like, I'm not the most material person, but, like, I believe that God's called me to have a certain level of influence and a certain level of just, I don't know, wealth, like, naturally here on earth, but not to just be balling, but to show people who only get it when they see somebody balling, like, yo, how'd you get that, bro? How'd you start that business? Or how'd you da-da-da-da? And it's like, I mean, I could tell you these practical steps, but, like, truth be told, it all starts for me with
but
God.
Do you feel like, I mean, and I know you say it applies to all people, but when you, especially where the country is right now, and where our people are right now, is there something inside of you that says, this is for everybody, but this right here, if it don't touch anybody else, I want it to touch my cousin, who's in the natural cycle, which is provided by the systematic oppression that we already face. Right. Because this is a product of that. It's a product of, we already, Dane, it's not a black man in America that don't got a cousin like Dane.
Exactly.
That's the problem, right? So it's like, is there a part of you when you're making that record that's like, this is for everybody, but this is for Dane. Like, if this don't touch anybody else, like, if anything, I want y'all on the other side to get that this is why this kid thinks the way he thinks. Right. It's not because of just, but this right here is for Dane. Like, is there anything inside of you that's just like, I want this. Is there anything inside of you that's just like, yo, as much as I want this to apply to everybody, if don't nobody else get it, I want my cousin Dame to get it.
Yeah, and it's, if nobody else get it, and I'll make it a little more broad too, like, if nobody else get it, I want my cousin Dame and people like Dame to get it, and people like me that have the cousins like Dame, but also got the mind and has been afforded the opportunity to think like me and act like, you know what I'm saying, in that way to be able to reach those people.
So And then you end the song, you said, Dame ain't gonna change because he reading verses. Dame gonna change because he see his work. And now, for those, who are not tapped in, verses, you're obviously speaking on Bible verses. So you get into the responsibility as just another black man trying to show another black man that we don't have to go the same route that we've been going. We don't have to play into the system that's already set for us.
Right.
But now you're speaking into the spiritual. Now you're tapping into, not only as a black man, but a Christian black man, or black man that happens to be a Christian. It's that much harder to reach these dudes, and they're not gonna just change by reading Bible verses. They're gonna change.
But few people do though, bro.
Yeah.
Like few, bro. This is what niggas don't understand, bro.
Right.
Few people change because they read even if you change because you read a scripture, you change because of the Spirit of God.
Talk.
Not because of like these words, bro. Like, I don't think people understand that, like, even if you go to a church, right? Praise and worship is fire. The pastor gives a word that's for you at that moment, and you feel all of these things, and you go to the altar and you get saved and all of that. Everything that happened in front of you was just a vehicle for the Spirit. It wasn't because of the praise and worship. It wasn't because of the sermon. It wasn't because the lights were dope and the people were friendly. That all helped. It all catered to foster the Spirit of God, bro. Right. So, like, nobody changes just because they read a scripture, bro. Like, I'm saved and I read scriptures, bro, that don't touch me. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, that don't do nothing for my situation where it's at. And I can read the same scripture being open to receive that Spirit of God, and it touched me in a completely different way because I was open to it. You know what I'm saying? It's not because of the scripture, bro. And I feel like people that, and it's not like there's a lot of people that took that line out of context, but even people that, like, don't understand that, it's like we was talking about earlier, bro, about when Mike was like, you don't go to hell for your sin. Like, you don't get saved because of the Bible. Like, the Bible does not save anybody. Like, the Bible fosters your salvation, keeping you, it's a guidebook, bro, but it's not the key to your salvation. God is the key to your salvation. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know if I answered the question, because that it just be irritating, because I just feel like people don't get it, bro. Like,
it's definitely, it's several wars here in the States, and you got people that would consider that like New Age Christianity.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a whole different thing. You know what I'm saying? There's people that might hear exactly what you just said and said, he's wrong. If you do not believe it, like, you can't have one without. But at the end of the day, that's what that's what these types of conversations are for. And whether you believe your way or believe in the agnostic way or whatever, I think that what you said, as far as anybody is hard pressed to walk into something that they can't physically see.
Right.
It just is. That just is with life. So even if you want to be particular about, well, if you don't believe in the scripture, which is one of the foundations of, then it's hard for me, whatever. Let's just settle on the fact that it's hard for niggas to do anything that they can't physically see. Right. Right? You know what I mean? So that's why I found validity in those lines. And that can be a whole different conversation in itself. But specifically, like people like Dame, it's 100% accurate. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's like, bro, I'm writing this for people like Dame. Yeah. Because I got plenty of cousins and stuff that scriptures do not touch them. Right. But if they see it through me.
But your podcast does.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like, so for the people that's like, oh, that's New Age Christianity. Cool, fine. You don't come from the community that I come from. Right. So it's like, you wouldn't really understand that because of everything that's going on in the community, because my cousins got gunshots going through the window, reading a word in a book ain't gonna help them. Hey, get me out this house is what's gonna help me. Like,
we're trying to get out of this situation.
Like, show me how he works in your life,
Yeah.
right? Because reading this book out of Hosea is not gonna do it for me. Like, you know, so let's moving on to Ride 2.01. Where's Ride 1.0?
You got it, right?
I never heard it. I never heard of it.
People probably got it in his email somewhere.
Ride 1.2?
You got Ride in your email?
You holding music hostage, G?
He got it. He performed about 12 times.
Let me find this 360. Yeah, you performed it around the town and stuff, and it's just never.
What happened was I was ready to put it out, right? And P was like, nah. And I was like, all right, bet. So he was like, look, I mess with the vibe of the record, but like, it's dated. You know what I'm saying? You perform it so many times, it's like, actually, it's crazy. He gave me the beat. You found the original Ride beat. Yeah, you remember sending me the original Ride beat? He gave me the original Ride beat. And it's like, after so long, it's like, I don't know, it got detoxed, bro. And you called it from like a year out. You called it from like a year out.
I did call it.
But like,
detox.
I don't know, bro, but to me personally though, I'm sorry I hit the mic. But to me personally, it's like,
That was crazy.
you feel me? You know what I'm saying?
That was wild.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we're here doing, man. But like, to me, the first Ride is like, I don't know, but when I got to Ride 2.0, to me, Ride came out. Cause it's like, it lives on forever, bro. Back when I was a kid, I had dreams of getting paid. So it's here, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So in Ride 2.0, you're pretty much giving us a flashback, you know.
Yeah.
Back to when you first started rapping, you know, you give a couple of lines, you know, your mom packing you, Chase, shout out to Chase. Does he still go by Chase?
Nah, bro. Okay. It's Young Centro,
Young
bro.
Centro?
And like
I thought I
everybody,
saw that.
it's Centro, dog. And I did an interview earlier this week, right? And it's always awkward because it's like, you don't want to correct nobody harshly and be like, hey, stop the interview, stop calling him Chase, it's Centro. Like, you don't want to do that. So it's like,
I mean, I noticed that on the ground, but I didn't know if that was like a thing. If he was just like really Young Centro.
Centro, bro.
So, you know, moms, you know, packed y'all up, you know, you're just going down a whole history. I mean, you're giving a short history lesson of just how you got to where you're at. What do you want people to get out of Ride 2.0? Especially not having released Ride 1.0.
So the theme of Ride 2.0 is the same as Ride 1.0, which is like, enjoy the process. Like, there's a process to get to where you're trying to get to. And it's like, Ride was birthed in like the metaphor, like, you know, your mom's, if you black, you can relate to this. Like your mom's, you're going somewhere, right? It ain't gotta be your mom, it could be your dad. I ain't have one, so I always say moms. But like, your mom's, your parent, you're in the car with your parents, y'all going somewhere, right?
Right.
And you asking them, where are we going? How far away are we? This, that, where are you taking us to? Are we almost there yet? Like all of that. And what does the saying they always say? Shut up, sit back and just ride. Because you're not driving, you're not in control, I'm driving. Like, we gonna get there when we get there because I know what I'm doing. Like, that's what Ride 2.0 is. Like, I want people to get that from it. It's like, we're not in control, in as much control of where we're going as we feel. And once we let go of the control and just allow life to take its natural course, as we're doing everything we can to be as disciplined and work as hard as we can and be as loving with everybody and all that other type of stuff, like, you'll get to where you're supposed to get to ultimately. But a lot of times we get so caught up in like trying to be there. How we talked about it earlier, like being in your mid to late 20s, it's like, yo, I gotta get it now. It's like, man, like a lot of times I feel like you get out of character trying to get it now. It's like, just relax, sit back, and just enjoy life. Like, cause when you try to rush the process, I feel like you miss a lot of like what makes life beautiful.
And I mean, that's short and simple. Cause I mean, the song is super simple. I mean, it's easy to follow. So I like that. Speaking of getting to it, now we get to 10-band plan.
Right.
Right. You have St. Dom on the record.
Always.
Shout out to St. Dom.
It's always a pleasure.
Tough.
I had a friend say he hated Dom's verse, right?
Word.
Bro, I sent it to him when we first did it. Hated the verse. It came out, and then everybody was like, it's the song that everybody likes. He was like, I guess I was wrong. Like, I told you, bro, because he didn't like Dom's verse. He's like, he sounds boring. He sounds monotone. Da, 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 da. I'm like, all right, just wait. And then of course it comes out, and it's like the most popular song on the whole project.
Yeah, nah, I don't understand that. I mean, because when you first played it for me, I was like, that's tough.
Dom went crazy.
I mean, I had a couple of explicits in that.
Yeah, Dom had the bro. What?
That's crazy. So you put Dom on that masterfully. You know, you got a couple of ad-libs in there. You know, you start off, I need a check. You know, and the whole song, one, 10-band plan. Is that a real, actual plan that you have?
That I have?
That you have?
No, it's an actual plan that Dom has. Originally, when I made the song, it was called Dom's 10-band plan.
Oh, okay.
But like 10-band plan is just a more sweet name. But like it comes from arguments that me, P, and Dom would have at Dom's house. Like he's always yelling like, nigga, we need 10 bands. And his mom, all we need is 10 racks and it's over. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a little more nuanced than that, but we do need the 10 racks, you know what I'm saying?
That was just the hard, like, did that number just come up like?
You gotta ask him.
10 bands?
That's his number.
Just, in my mind, 10
in his
bands.
mind, we get 10 racks and it's over. And don't get me wrong, you give us 10 racks, I also think that it's over. Is my plan a $10,000 plan? Not necessarily. Like my plans move in more smaller increments or bigger increments. Like right now, we trying to get, what is it, P 50? 50,000? Is that what's on the vision board in the studio? 30,000. Like as World 45, like our vision, long term. Long term is big term is like a. Mid-term is like a $30,000 plan. Like that's what we feel like we need to go to the next level. The $10,000 is a metaphor for whatever amount of money or whatever it is that you need. Because like even for Town Apparel, it's not an amount of money. It's a certain type of resource.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For 45, it's like we need the money, but if somebody was going to give us the resources that's within that plan, it's like that's what it's about. So it's not just about the bread, but
are y'all opening to like partnering 45, like a Rockefeller situation, like letting a company like partner with y'all? I know that's kind of off topic, but y'all like open to that? Like,
we're open to anybody that has the heart that we have. That's gonna help us get to where we're trying to get to the right way. Now, we're not trying to, if you ask me if we're trying to sign, like we ain't trying to.
Well, right, no, I'm saying like, you know what Rockefeller did.
That the partnership.
Yeah, they partnered with Def Jam. You know, I mean, they ended up letting Def Jam buy 25%, end up selling the other 25% to another company, but they still have 50% of the company. So like that type of partnership.
I'm open to it. It has to be the right situation. And we have to still be able to, like a Rockefeller, have the majority stake in what we do, to where we have the creative control and the ability to back that creative control with the fact that we get most of the profit from what's made. Like we have the controlling interest of the company. So like, I'm
Dame said it religiously. Like Def Jam was just there. Def Jam was just there to cut the checks. That's all they did. Cut us the checks so we can get the resources and do what we gotta do.
Right.
Other than that, like just, you know, give us the money, get out the way, you get your cut, we good.
Right.
All right, that's good. Because, you know, a lot of people, I don't know what it is. 2020, I've been paying attention to the blogosphere and the CHH world. Not that, you know, I'm just like listen to a lot of the artists, but I've just been paying attention. Like when they tried to get him for the $2 million.
Crazy.
Which you said you would rob him for it.
I would.
I would rob him
time.
I'd still rob him. Like I ain't gonna hold you, and that's my man's. I would rob that boy blind.
Stick
like,
that kid.
And then give him $500,000 from it, like bro.
You gonna rob him and give it back to him. You gonna rob him and give it back to him. That's outrageous.
I mean, hey, bro.
Give me everything. Then you take it and it's like, okay, so here's 500.
Dog,
That's
you
crazy.
Know what I mean? Like, hey, it's reality, man. I mean, you know,
it's just gonna be a cycle of just robbing each other over and over again. The money won't go nowhere.
I mean, that's hip hop though. Now we talking hip hop. I mean, that's hip hop, right? So yeah, people actually wonder about those things. They wonder about the business of 45. That's why you get 50 million questions on who's actually on the joint, who's a bench. So okay, cool. So with the 10-band plan, you know, you're talking about, you know, I need a check, I gotta get it, you know, to 100 stuff. You're talking a lot of money talk.
A lot of money.
A lot of money talk. But you said something there. You had a line where you said, unlocking the minds of the people, unlocking the minds of the struggle. They feeding us everything except for anything humble.
Right.
Now you getting into the big picture. What big picture are you trying to show people here with that line?
That money is necessary to accomplish anything of tangible value in this country. Like people associate money, especially in the Christian community, with like evil, and it's like, you ever built a church for free? Like, you ever bought a speaker? You ever made a whole sound system like for free? It doesn't work that way. Like, and we want to give scholarships to kids. Where's the money coming from? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you gonna do with it? So people make money evil, which means that people that want money or talk about money are obviously not humble. Yeah. And it's like, humility is not being poor or being weak or being insecure. Like, humility is understanding exactly who you are, understanding exactly what you need, but understanding exactly what you need it for. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. It's like getting people to understand that it's like, you can want to be rich and still be humble. You can want to be rich and still have good intentions and actually have a proper perspective for what the money is. It's the love of money is the root of all evil, not the want of it. You know what I'm saying? The need of it. Because we all need money. You ever tried to pay your phone bill with food stamps? It don't fly, bro. I don't think, you know if AT&T take EBT?
Maybe in LA.
So like, it's not going down that way, bro.
It's the same amount of card, like numbers on the card, ain't it? I mean, you still got a security code and stuff.
I don't know, bro.
I mean, it's worth a shot, I think.
It's not going down that way, bro. It's not going down that way. So you have to have like money is important. You know what I'm saying? Like getting people to understand like the importance of money when you have it in its proper perspective. And low key, that's something I learned from him. What's like that? Heavyweight, yeah. Like as a business owner, like one thing that I learned, and because to me, I used to go out of my way to not like want money or like feel like it was important, and then like him trying to get his shop and watching him go from working at somebody else's shop for mad years, then getting this shop, and then him just telling me like what it costs and what he's trying to do, and it's like, oh, you need like a lot of money just to patch up a hole in the wall so it's not a window no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the things that I learned. It's like, man, like, nah. And I was kind of robbing myself of like an opportunity to like profit, and like we were selling clothes, bro, for like breaking even, just trying to give it to the people. And it's
hustling
like,
backwards.
But we not holding in no money, but then we want to have a back to school bash and give out town backpacks with school supplies.
What money?
With what money, bro?
Where the money at?
Where's the money? You know what I'm saying? So like,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I would rob P. I ain't gonna hold you.
And that's why I would rob P too.
That's a fact. So, going from 10.
Chill out.
I said I would give you some of the money back.
He did say he would give you 25% back.
That's a fact. So, so getting into the last two joints on the tape, now we getting to Fear God.
Yeah.
It's not too many words to the song, but it's a vibe. Okay. You said this world gonna break me down. Nowhere will I be found. It seems like, because you're building something. You've got 3 songs. You started out 2 shots. You know, letting you know what Dame is and your mindset towards, man, I got to get my people out of this mindset. And then you get the 10-band plan, or then you get the ride, and it's like, all right, just let life take its course. But then you get the 10-band plan, and it's like, yeah, but I kind of got to get to it.
Yeah.
So Fear God, at least in my opinion, it gets down to this breaking point of where you're like, you almost seem exhausted. It's like you almost seem exhausted in a sense. Mm-hmm. Explain Fear God and what you want people to get from Fear God.
So Fear God is, to me, it's my favorite song, and I think it's like lightweight, the most important song on the project from the perspective that people don't understand what it means to fear God. And I'll try to go through this quick because we've already taken a lot of time on other stuff. But like, people don't understand, and we've had this conversation too, people don't understand the fear of God because people don't understand parenting, like genuinely in America, and what it means to be like a parent. And the Bible describes God as like a loving father, a jealous father, and all that other type of stuff, right? Like he cares for us, he wants the best for us, all that stuff, right? So think about it like your parent. Like I think about it like my mom. Yeah. Like the fear I have for my mom was not one that came from wrath all the time. It didn't come from like trying to be punished. And a lot of times we look at fearing God as like punishment, like the wrath of God, like him taking everything away from us. So it's like, I have to be afraid of God. It's like, not, it's having reverence for God. Like for me, the fear I have for my mom comes from me not wanting to disappoint her, not wanting to let her down, not wanting to ruin her day, not wanting her to feel taken advantage of, not wanting her to feel like I was ungrateful, and a million other things on top of getting a whooping. You know what I'm saying? Like on top of getting my game system taken away. You know what I'm saying? But what keeps me in line, or what kept me in line as a kid with my mom was not a fear of her wrath, but a reverence for her love. Because you love me so much, like I want to make sure that I'm not doing anything to take advantage of that love, or I'm doing the best that I can. Right. You know what I'm saying? In wherever I'm at in my maturity at that point in my life, to not take advantage of the love that you have for me. I believe that you want what's best for me. And because of that, I want to do the best that I can to stay in that line. Right. Because I don't want you to feel disappointment, frustration, anger, all types of stuff. Right. So to me, that's what that is. It's like having that healthy fear of God that comes from love, that leads us to be on the right path whenever, and it's not even about doing wrong, it's about like not taking care of you. Like fear of God is it's a cry out of like, man, I don't want to be here no more. Like with everything that's going on in this country, everything that's going on in our communities, like I don't feel like being here no more. Like I don't feel like waking up in the morning. I don't feel like doing all of that. But because I understand like what I'm here for, like what you've done for me, like it would be a crime against God for me to, take it to the max. Right. And do something to where I cut my life short, or to where I don't go forward and like pursue purpose the way that I should, or like for me to just stay in my house hiding all the time because I'm afraid that if I go out, I'm gonna get killed by the police or something. Like I have to continue to have the healthy reverence that understands that like, because you love me so much, all I gotta do is follow the plan that you set, you know what I'm saying? And continue to move and show that love to other people, you know what I'm saying? So that's what fear of God really is about, is like getting past like those things and understanding like that healthy reverence, and not being like afraid of a wrath, but being more so respectful of everything that he is and everything that he's done, especially for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like my responsibility is greater than the moment that I find myself in. Yeah,
that's a word. That's a word. So we go from, fear God, and then we get straight into country grammar.
Best transition of the whole project.
That was a crazy transition. So you get into country grammar, featuring none other than, Paris Carrez.
Said the wavy one.
The wavy one. Country grammar, how did it come about, and what's the tone, what's the message behind that?
Country grammar came about, I was in the studio session with Dr. View, who's like the head of Fila. Like Fila's like his brainchild. And I was in a studio session for his album, and the engineer for his album is a guy named Jack Spade. He's from the town, OG in the town, great dude. Okay. And after I did the verse review, Jack was playing me beats, and he played the country grammar beat. And when I heard it, I actually heard Paris. Like I didn't really hear myself, but I thought the beat was fire, so I wanted it. So Jack sent me the beat, and I just sent it to him. Like I didn't even, like he put his verses on it before I ever like even wrote to it. And I sent it to him, and he sent me the reference back. And I was like, yo, it's crazy that you wrote that, because to me, it sounded like 2020 country grammar, which is what I called it. Like, it just sounded like New Age Nelly to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then he wrote it, and he was like, if you want to take it out, you know, I was outside. I'm like, yo, it's over. Like this song is done. And I just went and I put some verses to it, and like it was just really that simple. Like for the message behind the song was really more so like that's the point of the project where it's like you feel like you get it all. Like you understand the journey of like you feel frustrated and angry and all that stuff from a 2 shots, but you're trying to keep the proper perspective. The ride you get to ride, and it's like, all right, like I have to just kind of go with God, like move with the process, like enjoy the process. 10-man plan is like, all right, now I need to figure out what specifically do I need to do to impact myself, my family, and my community. And then you get to fear God, which is like feeling overwhelmed with like everything that you see, everything that you feel. And once you release it, let it go and realize like, yo, it is what it is, which is not a statement of giving up, but it's a statement of faith. Like until you realize what the situation is, you'll never be able to actually do anything about it. And you'll just be trying to cure the symptom instead of the disease. You get to the bottom of it and you realize that like, okay, the world is unfair. Like this country is in a terrible place, but like nothing that I've been doing in the sense of running from it, and I'm talking about me, running from it, hiding, being depressed and all that other type of stuff is not gonna change anything. What's gonna change it is me being able to accept it and figure out what I can do with what I've been given to change my situation. And Country Grammar is that point of like, all right, I'm going now. Like I'm gonna gather everything that I got and I'm gonna use everything that I have at my disposal, big or small, because how we perceive it is relative. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm gonna go out and impact it and give people that maybe don't have the same hope that I have, hope. And as I try to increase mine, like, cause it ain't like I got it figured out. Like,
but it is what it is.
But it is what it is, like, and we take it day by day.
It taps into just the frequency of just how this year is 2020. Yeah. Election time coming up, all the shenanigans, yo. It is what it is. Anytime somebody asks me, like, how do I feel about X, Y, and Z? It is what it is, bro. Like, God, I don't believe him. I don't believe it is what it is, bro. Like, how you feel about the Lakers? It is what it is, bro. But so amazing project with this EP. You know, where you going? What's the plans? Short term, long term. You know, for you, for yourself, for 2045. Like, what's next for you, bro?
It ain't gonna be another 18 months before we put out music for sure.
God bless.
Paris has his deluxe coming out very soon.
Yeah.
I don't know when this is coming out, so I'm not gonna say nothing. Yeah. But it's coming out very soon. It's coming out very soon. Yeah. And we really, honest to God, bro, we have a lot of music. I don't even think you know that. I know you know that we got some, but like, we got a lot of music, bro.
I would hope
like
so.
A lot of music. So to me, my plan is to like, just to continue to create, but to continue to build internally. Like the thing we've mastered building individually. Like we've mastered like making music on our own and putting our projects out. We're not putting our projects out because we ain't mastered that yet, but creating like content, like we've kind of mastered like being selfish in that sense. Like now what I want to see is, I think next is trying to figure out how to create more of a system within the team to where we can build on the foundation that we have and hopefully add pieces to what we have going on. Because we don't feel like it stops with us.
Absolutely.
Like we want this to be something that lasts, you know what I'm saying, like beyond us. Yeah. Like some stuff that we can pass down to our children. Like so, I mean, we're looking for R&B singers. We're looking for producers. We're looking for visual designers. Like we're looking for all types of stuff because we're trying to grow and build on the foundation that we have. So that's what I want to see.
All right. Well, there it is. I mean, thank you for coming, bro, through. I appreciate you so much. Reach Over Culture podcast. It's my man MC. This is Town Talk Part 2. I want to give a couple of shout outs. Right. Give a shout out to everybody that's running camera. Shout out to JD, who set this whole joint up. Shout out to JV, he's gonna be cutting it down. Shout out to our man Aaron. Hey, Aaron, Lux Grooming Quarters on Cincinnati, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Make sure you book your appointments because you're gonna be waiting a month in advance.
Got to.
You got to.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What's your favorite song? What's your favorite song?
Oh, that changes.
So explain it to me.
I mean, off rip, band playing felt nice.
Interesting.
But honestly, as of like 2 days ago, Fear God is. Initially, it was like, okay. Really, I was like doing something. It was just on repeat. And then obviously when the beat dropped, it felt good. Then I listened to it and I was like, wow, that's a whole lot of good energy in it.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Well, I say, damn.
Chill out. That's a reach, bro. You stretched. No, you stretched that one. You stretched.
Because it was a reach though. It was like
Stretched. No, bro. Michael Jordan Space Jam reach.
That was for whoever caught it. It's like you got a good chuckle, but it's like it was a reach.
How do you feel about the project, bro? Overall, like you consuming it, because we're in your space, right? And when we come into Lux, we talk about everything, music, art, but your opinions, you know what I'm saying? People come in, I want to know what you think. Because we haven't really had the opportunity for you to tell me like the overall feel of kind of what you got from it, what you feel about it.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, like Rock said. I mean, it really is what it is. But, I mean, it really leaves me wanting more. Not because of the amount of tracks, but just like I want more of the energy. Like, you know what I'm saying? More of the heart, more of the vision behind, or, you know, just even more of the story. I mean, 45 story. But that's kind of pretty much how I feel about all the music or the art that's out right now. It's just kind of like, I really want to hear more of the story just because, you know what I mean, y'all, the whole move is different, but it's beautiful at the same time. So, I mean, I don't want just more tracks, but I want to hear, like, I want to keep hearing how it's evolving. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how that left me.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Aaron. Shout out to Lux Grooming Quarters, man. Again, Cincinnati. Book your appointments a month in advance, cause bro.
Look at.
It's not cap. It's not, I just booked two in advance.
You know, there's a transition to where you used to be able to book. Like, okay, it's Monday. I need to get my haircut like Friday. I may be able to get like that 1:30.
Yeah, nah, not anymore.
Like, now it's like I gotta get 2 weeks.
Right, bro. Every day I get my haircut.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Book it now.
Today's Wednesday.
As a super fact.
Oh, the week after that? Okay.
You gotta book them all at the same time.
Right.
Bro, I booked mine by 17 out.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's
to.
a fact. I got 2-3 already planned out to 2021. I'm set.
So what happens when the cut life changing, bro?
That's a fact.
It's a different
That's
situation.
a fact. But shout out to everybody
Thanks for having
involved.
us.
Man, yes, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for having us again. Thank you to everybody that's produced this. This is Town Talk Part 2, Reach Over Culture Podcast, times the Town World 45, and we out.
Thank you. Energy.
Yes, sir.
We parked up.
Essential.
I gotta get it until all my got hundreds and fifties stuffed in the belly. I gotta get it until my percentage is making what Riri is making at Finney. I need my 10s and 20s and plenty of knots and guap until it just busting up by the safe. If they ain't talking money, tell them not today. I gotta get it until all my got 5s and 1s to feed the young. I gotta grind into the design we got on the sweats, replacing loves. I need my 10s and 20s and plenty of knots and guap until it just busting up by the safe. If they ain't talking money, tell them not today.
Hey, I need like 10 bands. I need that check right in my hands. I got some Vixens to finance. I'm time for my hoodie to my pants. Rolling like I was on Vivans.